Hello and welcome to the Elsa B. Smith Show. Today's topic is called Healing Meditation, using aromatherapy to help mindfulness. And my lovely guest today is Amy Ellis, all the way from Cambridge in the United Kingdom. Amy's mission is to pass on some skills and tools that help people best look after and maintain their own and their environmental health. She provides a range of therapies to suit your needs, including organic aromatherapy, intuitive massage, Reiki, reflexology, visualization, breathing techniques, and isn't this interesting, didgeridoo healing, and workshops. She has specialist qualifications in the areas of pregnancy and birth, but today we're going to focus on aromatherapy to help mindfulness. Hello, Amy, and welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to be here.
Amy, can you tell us, how did you get started with aromatherapy? What made you interested in that?
Well, it was when I was a child, actually, a teenager, just turned 13, had some pocket money, and was going around exploring the town that I lived in, Farringdon, in Oxfordshire. And believe it or not, it was in the chemist, the local chemist. They happened to be selling essential oils. And I picked up, was appealed by these little tiny bottles, and they drew me in, and I picked one up and I smelt sandalwood. Was my first bottle that I picked up and smelt. And to be fair, I just fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with that aroma. It transported me somewhere else. It made me feel, it was rich and warm and luxurious. It was like nothing else I'd smelt. It was very different from perfumes that I'd smelt. And so I saved up. And in fact, actually, I remember it was cedarwood was that I liked the sandalwood, but sandalwood was very expensive. So I bought cedarwood because it was a bit more affordable. And I started using the cedarwood and the ylang-ylang as accompaniers of me. So I would dilute a bit in oil and rub it on my palms and my wrists. So I suppose as a perfume, but it was as a perfume for me because it made me feel nice, made me feel better. And so that's how it very sort of sparked. And I've always been interested in natural, I suppose, beauty and health and beauty products. And I started experimenting with blending things, but mainly using things in the kitchen, cucumber face masks and clay, and strawberry face masks as well, and things like that. So it sort of would experiment on my family. But it wasn't until I actually went to university to study something called social anthropology, which is the cross-cultural study of different cultures, that a weekend course in aromatherapy was advertised. And my friend and I both signed up. And that was really when I was introduced to the whole range of oils. And again, I sort of felt a deep connection to them. And I was beginning to feel a deep connection to wanting to, on the journey to heal myself, but to make the world a better, happier, more healthy place. And I was drawn to do that through aromatherapy, but also with the massage. For me, the touch, I discovered massage pretty much at university. I was massaging friends in a sort of experimental fashion, and realized that actually, whilst I was massaging people with my eyes shut, I started having feelings and seeing visions and seeing things that I hadn't experienced before. And so I thought, well, this is different, and perhaps I should listen to this. Perhaps this is something that not everybody seems to have every day. So I started to pursue the journey. And it was about 5 years after that I qualified. So 1997, I went on the journey. I tried various different jobs, working for environmental charities, the Earth Love Fund. It was always to do with trying to make the world a better place. But ultimately, my hands, I just wanted to use them. I just needed to be doing it. Actually, not reading about it, not talking about it, actually doing it.
You said you qualified. Qualified as what?
So I had my degree in social anthropology, but I went back to evening class and I qualified I got a diploma in aromatherapy, in massage, and a year later in reflexology, and a year later in Reiki. So so it was, I did it as an evening course whilst I worked.
Now tell us about essential oils. What is the purpose of essential oils to the plant?
Well, this is also because I love nature and because I'm interested in parallels between human beings and nature. The relationship of the essential oil fascinated me as to why it was in the plant. And through my training and through further study, I became to notice certain patterns between the use of the oil for the plant and the use of the oil for the human being. So, for instance, starting with the very tiny seed, you've got the black pepper seed. So, black pepper is, used in Ayurveda, and for the plant, it is the potential. It's the potential energy. It's concentrated life force waiting to spark. And for humans, black pepper, we use if we are feeling tired and if we're feeling cold, because it provides, the black pepper oil provides deep heat to the muscles. And so for me, it's a bit like, the potential energy. You put warmth in and you have more energy in your life to come out. So that's one just parallel. Another one are the roots. The roots, there's a ginger, vetiver, galangal, all root oils. Now, particularly for the vetiver is, and we'll be looking at this plant, but it has a longest root, almost as tall as me, the root. And it's planted on very steep hills, and it stops soil erosion. The roots actually hold the land stable. And also it has chemicals in it, essential oils, oxygenated hydrocarbons, that repel vermin and insects and fungus. So lo and behold, this oil emotionally provides stability for human beings, and physically can be used to deter insects, insect repellent, and rats. So there's just a couple of examples there, and the parallels go on with the flowers as well, of course. So a lot of the popular perfumes that we use are all floral: rose, jasmine, neroli. And why does the plant have a flower? To attract the bees, to attract the pollinators, the butterflies. And in the same way, to some degree, perfume is worn as to make us feel attractive, to make the person smell attractive, but also for oneself to enjoy in the bounty of something beautiful, a beautiful flower to share in that.
So it's actually connecting with nature.
Yes. So all the essential oils are kept in little tiny cells, plant cells. Little droplets are scattered all over. They come in all different places. So you've got essential oils in the resin, in the leaves. If the plant is scented, it has these scent molecules, which in most cases can be made into an essential oil. So some it's difficult to extract them, and you need an awful lot of the scent material. Hence, the price often goes up for those plants that you need such vast quantities. I think 20 roses, produces 1 drop. So yeah, it's
So if they are that difficult to extract, or it's such hard work to extract such small quantities, then I suppose I need to really look after them very well. So where do I keep my essential oils? Do I keep them in the fridge or in a special storage?
Yeah, I think, first of all, they are kept, most of them are sold in dark bottles, blue or brown bottles. And that's important because heat and sun causes a chemical change. And especially when the lid is off, the oils can oxidize, and that actually changes the chemical formula, and therefore the therapeutic quality can change. So making sure you keep your lids shut, keeping your bottles closed, keeping them in a cool and dark place. So the ideal, the best, is probably the fridge, because obviously and in fact that increases the shelf life. It can almost double the shelf life if you keep them in the fridge.
Yeah. That's really good to know. Yeah. And what is your favorite oil at the moment? Do you have a favorite? What is it?
Well, I think my favorite one changes over time. And I love working with different individuals because you find out what oil they like at that moment in time. And according to their mood and their needs and whatever else is happening. But at the moment I've had a sort of deep longing for an unusual essential oil, and it's more commonly known as the plant. It's a common wildflower, and it's called yarrow. So yarrow, you know yarrow?
Yeah, I've heard
you might
of it.
find it in the lawn. So I've got a picture of it. I've got a picture. So it's an ornamental flower, and it makes an essential oil that is blue, and it is very high in a chemical called chamazulene, which is anti-inflammatory. So for me, this is a very calming oil. I do like my calming oils. And it's also a very strong oil. So it's not calming and sleepy. It's calming and strong, calming and awakening, in a sort of alert fashion. And so I like to use this oil. What's interesting is it's very cooling. Its nature is cooling, and historically it has been used to calm fevers and to cool fevers by herbalists. But there's another interesting piece of evidence. It's actually, this plant has been around since the time of the Neanderthals, and has actually been found in a Neanderthal grave from 60,000 years BC. So I've been reading quite a lot about ancient history, and I love to think about our relationship with plants going back that far. And I like to think that somehow I'm drawn to this plant because it links me to all the history of our predecessors and my ancestors. Yeah, it's also a good herb for women, so it's sort of a balancing for menstruation as well.
It does make sense to me that your favorite essential oil changes over time. Essential oil have this emotional connection and emotional and the impact on your emotions. So tell me more. I'm curious about this now.
Okay, well, oils are there to help either alter your mood, depending on what you feel drawn to. So, often people are either a hot temperament or a cooler temperament, even in terms of their body circulation, even in terms of, do their hands and feet get cold? Do they get flushed? And so there are oils that are hot and oils that are cold. So quite often I work with that. So you might find someone who really is, who finds the weather in England a bit of a struggle, and so they might like the ginger and the black pepper and the rosemary because they're really boosting and stimulating and invigorating. Whereas other people, who maybe just get a bit too hot and flustered, or a bit sweaty, or just a bit, easily frazzled, might prefer those sort of cooling, calming lavenders and chamomiles. So this is some ways like that. Often they say there are certain oils that are sort of almost appeal to everybody. It's a difficult one to say, but certainly I found bergamot.
Yeah.
very sort of easy on the nose. It's a combination between orange and lemon. It's a friendly smell. And mandarin. Most people like mandarin. It's like the sunshine. So it just sort of uplifts you and brings a bit of sunshine into your life. But then there are other times when you actually don't want anything for instance, some people really don't like the floral oils, and they don't want to be out there all flowery. They need to be in with the bark, in with the roots, inside, and that can help contain you and hold you. You're held by the plant. So yeah, it's so I do find there are kind of personality oils, and when people come to see me, I like to make their blend with what they really like, and sometimes that blend will certain oils will stay with them, but certain oils might change with the seasons or with where they're at in their life.
Which oils would you recommend for grounding?
Grounding, well, for me, grounding is very much part of mindfulness and meditation. In fact, I think in order to be fully calm and fully present in the moment, the roots and being grounded are essential. So there are, thankfully, some beautiful oils that take and they are the woody ones and the root ones. So one of the ones that I've got a picture of is this one. So I've talked a bit about this. This was the vetiver that I mentioned. This was the one that provided stability to the ground. Can you see the size of the root? So there's a man, full-grown man, holding up the root, and it's as tall as he is. Yeah. So this oil, it's really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. This plant grows in Haiti and Indonesia, and it works on the solar plexus chakra and the base chakra. So it both increases it can help relieve anxiety and panic attacks, and take you down into your own roots and connect you to your own earth, stopping, making, if you're a bit hypersensitive, if you're a bit nervous, if you have panic attacks, or if you just want to feel rooted, this is a really good oil to use. It's actually related to the lemongrass and palmarosa, which are other similar grasses to look like, but none of them, they don't quite have the same root system as this one. But there are other ones. I think personally I find patchouli grounding as well. So yeah. Okay.
I've read that for a really deep meditation that you would use frankincense, that yogis use frankincense for that. Would that make sense?
Yeah, certainly yogis do. It makes sense because it's an Indian plant, Indian frankincense. You have an Indian frankincense and an African frankincense. So what I found through my studies is that different cultures will use different plants according to what grows in their area, according to what. And so in aromatherapy, you might find there are several plants that can do the same thing. And so there are indeed a lot of plants that can help us with meditation and mindfulness. And they give slightly different qualities. And what we can do in aromatherapy, of course, is blend them together and find a balance that works well. So, I've done this sort of, whilst preparing for this, I was reflecting on the sort of steps that one might take to creating a delicious or perfect meditation blend. And I think, and may I start, shall I start to talk through that?
That would be lovely, yes, I'm very curious.
Yeah, okay. So I thought that one of the first steps to preparing yourself for meditation is to prepare the space. And traditionally, looking at the use of these oils and plants in traditional cultures. They often have their temple or their sacred space, which is specific for meditation and for prayer and for invocation. And a lot of cultures, they use plants to clean and purify the space. And one of those plants that came up strongly for me as a very cleansing one was what the Native American Indians use, the tree that grows all down the east coast of America, from Canada all the way down to Mexico. And it's the red cedar wood. It's a wood that produces quite a lot of smoke, and they have it in their smudge sticks. And it's incredibly antibacterial. And so it's cleansing. It's basically cleansing the space. So this is the picture. The bark is used, and they actually call it the tree of life, their tree of life. And they use it on their vision quests and for attracting good spirits. So it's said to attract good spirits and to clear the space. So physically, it does repel both vermin and insects. So on a physical level, it's an insect repellent. And on an energetic, emotional level, it clears the space of negative energies, of negative ions. And just so you've got this beautiful prepared space. And I've got some in my little nasal inhaler here. And it really takes you to imagining the Native American Indians, for me, dancing around a fire. A fire is burning. It's very smoky. It's very warm. It's a very strong but reassuring smell. Quite a I feel like I'm in a forest with it. So your space is prepared, if you like. You've prepared your space. And then one thing that we do in meditation, or certainly when you're doing a particular form of meditation, and you say you want to seek guidance about something, is you set the intention. And as healers, when we're healing someone, we try to aim for a pure intention where our heart is full of unconditional love. And there is a pure plant that Hildegard von Bingen, a nun, worked with this classic English flower, the classic English lavender. And she said that the lavender endows us with pure heart and pure intention. And so this aroma, very different. We've immediately come out of the wiles of the wood, and we've come into this very clean and pure, refreshing, light floral aroma of lavender. Indeed, lavare means to wash. So we've washed our heart, we've washed our mind, and we are of clear intention. I can just invite you that smell. Most of you will know the aroma of lavender.
Oh yes, I love it.
Yeah, good. Exactly. A lot of people feel a strong connection to lavender. And so she said it helps us maintain pure character. It can also help an overactive mind, and it's starting to calm the mind and prepare you for what you'd like to do. So then after you've set the intention, I then bring in the rooting oils. And that's when making my blend, I blend in the vetiver that we saw and I talked about. And also I talked about the patchouli. So this is an Indian one. This is used in India, an incense. Patchouli incense is burnt quite frequently. It's actually from the mint family, surprisingly enough, but it's it's another rich and exotic aroma that brings you down into your body. It's quite a heavy smell. It's quite a full-bodied smell. It actually triggers the release of endorphins, of dopamine and serotonin, so it can help you calm down. And can be antidepressant and brings more oxygen to the brain. So hopefully after that, and I've got my vetiver and patchouli here, so I'll just have a quick whiff of those. So the vetiver doesn't appeal to everybody's sense of smell because it's a root, and because it's quite rich, and some people sort of smell it and think that's too earthy. because it's from the ground. It's too mossy. So, but you can just put a little bit in the blend. You know, you don't have to go for too much so that it over dominates. The patchouli tends to appeal to more people. It's the classic 1960s aroma, so very popular, you know, with the hippies. And it's luxurious, and it's earthy. So again, so you're fully rooted there with those ones. Perhaps the next stage, possibly the next stage of meditation and mindfulness, now that we've grounded and we've set up your intention, is to listen and to tune into our breathing, to listen to the breath. Yes. And one oil that helps us do that is what you mentioned, the frankincense.
Oh, yes.
From a tree, from the resin of the tree, grown, as I said, there's both an African one and an Indian one, so used over quite a large part of the world. A beautiful resin that is sweet and spicy and musky, and sort of nomadic people, certainly in the Sahara Desert, where the plant grows in mountainous areas and in desert, semi-arid and arid areas. They go around, walk around, make little incisions on the bark, and the sap drips out, and they put their little bowl there and collect it. So even the journey of collecting this frankincense must be like a walking meditation in itself. Largely they're alone. Largely they're interacting with the plants in hopefully, I think a special way. And so we are given this gift of the frankincense here, which of course we know it comes out at Christmas, and it comes out in Catholic churches. So it's an incense that's travelled far, and it resonates with the crown and the third eye, as well as the lungs. So they've done some research on choir boys who sniffed this, and they found that they measured the rate of breath, and they found that their breath deepened after having the inhaling frankincense. So therefore their singing was probably better.
My goodness, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's a real favourite. That's frankincense. Yeah. So then deepening the breath and focusing the mind. That's right. So there's another Indian plant that isn't that commonly heard about. It's called spikenard. This is related to the valerian family, but it is much more stronger and more uplifting. It doesn't send you to sleep quite the same way. So again, it's another richly exotic aroma. It's very spicy, and it's quite direct and quite pointed. It's quite sharp, but it's also got a sweet tone to it. And actually this was used, Mary of Bethany washed Jesus's feet in this, because it's said to really calm the mind. Is that where you'd heard of it? In the Bible? Yeah. So it brings them back, it brings you back to yourself. So it's a very sacred oil, spikenard. And interestingly enough, it's used in modern times for people suffering from ADHD. So it's a deeply calming, centering oil. So that's another one you might choose to use. Bearing in mind that although I've chosen to sort of pick out one particular quality of these oils, a lot of these oils actually have multiple qualities. So you don't have to you shouldn't feel you have to use all of these in the blend. So we tuned into our breath, we're grounded, we have our intention. I then thought that sometimes, when you're sitting and you're meditating, it's good to feel fully in touch and fully charged with your body, so that you don't go to sleep, so that you're feeling enriched by oils. And there are certain oils that bring power with them, that fill us, that fill our soul and our spirit, that feed us. through the aromas. And I've chosen two that I find are very feeding. Sorry, actually, just the one, actually. And this is Atlas cedarwood. So it's cedarwood, it's a different cedarwood. It's Cedrus atlantis, and it grows in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco.
Yeah.
And the name is translated as meaning power. The tree lives for 2,000 years, and there's an Arabic word, kedron, which means power. When you smell this, it's power it's not in an egotistical type sense, but power as in source of strength. So if you imagine, if you were to meditate upon the tree and feel yourself as strong as a tree, as stable as a tree, while smelling this oil, it would bestow its gift of this strength and this power. So I'm smelling it, and it's very, it's quite light, actually. It's much lighter than the Virginia cedarwood, and it's sweet, and it sort of wraps itself around you a bit like a hug, and it's and I would recommend going and getting some. It's also sort of sweet and woody, a sweet woody aroma. Okay,
I'm making my list of
yes. Could always, quite nice. Certainly, if we had the eucalyptus I did spend a year in living in Uganda, and there the children break off the sap of the eucalyptus tree and they eat them as little sweets. Okay, so we're feeling sort of charged and fully charged, and then I thought it's nice to have some oils. There are certain oils that help us to let go. Because when we're trying to achieve mindfulness, sometimes these thoughts come in and worries come in, and whatever we're anxious about, whatever's going on in our mind at the moment. And there are some oils that actually do provide comfort, and that are quite gentle. And one of those is a balsam. So this is actually from a resin of another tree, and it's called Peru balsam. And it's a very soft, almost vanilla-like essence. There's another oil called benzoin and vanilla that do similar things. So it's more savory than vanilla, but it's very soft. And what it does is it brings you to your heart, and it allows your body to soften. So it allows your shoulders to release. And so whereas you've charged yourself, and now you're going to soften into who and what you are in an accepting fashion. And this oil is very good for people who might struggle with self-love, or with self-nurturance, or with just feeling at ease with oneself. So that's the Peru balsam. And it's being used in Java. The Javanese shamans actually use it to shapeshift, to take on animal spirit allies. It's quite a smoky wood, and so as the smoke comes up, it's said to enhance visions and the possibility of taking on wisdom from the environment and the animals that were around them. I then thought, now that we've sort of relaxed a bit more, there's two other oils that relax you, but at the same time allow you to expand into your auric space and into the universal space. So we're grounded, we're rooted in our heart with the benzoin, but we can now just expand the space a little bit wider. And those ones are the beautiful flower ylang ylang,
a lovely name,
the very opening grass palmarosa. It reminds us of rose, but it's not as sweet as rose. It's more refreshing, uplifting, opening, expansive. It allows you to expand, and it has the added advantage of being cheaper than rose, but it's also got more qualities because it's both taking the heart from inside, just emotional love, and connecting that love to the whole of the universe, connecting that love into space. So it can have quite a powerful effect, I find. And I popped the ylang ylang in there because this is a nervine, so it calms the nerves, but it's also a euphoric. So it's lifting you up out of any sort of emotions that might be holding you back. Just to enjoy this experience of mindfulness and meditation. It takes you into this euphoric space. And again, it's another one that can be used for ADHD, and it resonates with the sacral and the solar plexus chakra. Okay. So I thought, now that we've opened up, and then perhaps one of the most sacred oils, and one of course, which I've mentioned already, my favorites, that does come from India, and is very rare. Well, it's endangered, and so we have to treat it very, very respectfully and only buy it from sustainable plantations, is the sandalwood, tree. So this is different from the other bark oils because it actually comes from the heartwood, and the tree has to be between 15 and 60 years old before you harvest the heart oil. But it's a very beautiful, sweet, gentle, woody aroma that's calming. And in India, they say they rub a bit of the powder on your third eye, and it connects you to the divine. It connects you to the spirit and brings the devotee closer to the divine. So it's sacred to Shiva. And they say that even that the goddess Lakshmi is hiding in the branches somewhere. She lives in the branches. So they like that, have a lot of gods and goddesses. And it's also close to Indra as well. So I don't know that much about those particular gods and goddesses, but I do know actually that Shiva, of course, Shakti and Shiva, Shiva, the male counterpart to Shakti, sandalwood in its structure is similar to, apparently, to male pheromones. So it's very appealing. It can be very appealing. But for me, it's like it's a sacred oil. It's a very sacred oil here. And so I wanted to finish with that one, because for me that it encompasses the possibility of where a meditation might take you. So in terms of mindfulness, you could choose any one of these oils, just any one. And in fact, I would probably encourage people to start with one, because it isn't until you've connected with one that you know what that is, what that quality is, what that nature is. And it's interesting, you could even, as a mindfulness practice, you could take a picture of the plant and take your oil of the plant and study that picture, and then close your eyes and go off in an aroma, and allow that to be your mindfulness practice for the day.
Just one last question on that. You mentioned now a number of different oils. How would you use them? Do you blend them together? Do you just use the fragrance like you demonstrated here? Do you use incense? Do you burn them in the room?
So you can do almost all of those.
Okay.
You can, the joy of using oils. Oils can be used in multiple ways. I do like these little inhalers. These are good for carrying around with you during the day in your handbag or trouser pocket. You get the smell strongly and directly. When you're burning it in a burner, that's nice if you're with a group of people or you want to fill a space and fill a room. The burner, the atomizer, you can use ones with a candle or ones you plug in. or an aroma stone. That's just a stone that heats up to a gentle heat. That's enough to evaporate it into the air. It's also possible to make room sprays. So I do blend those with some alcohol and some solubilized and some distilled water and the essential oil. And that can be sprayed either in the room or on the palms of your hands if you're going to be doing healing work. It can be quite nice and very nice if the client then enjoys the oils. Other people use it as a perfume, as a body spray, as to accompany them throughout their life. You can also blend, of course, essential oils shouldn't be used neat on the body because they are very strong. They are pure distilled essences. And they can cause, some can cause skin irritations and even burn the skin on occasion. So really the safest ones is lavender to use directly on skin. So all you have to do is get your oil and you take a little bit of carrier oil. So say you've got 10 mils of carrier oil. You can safely put half the number of drops in the 10 mils. So 10 mils would have 5 drops of that essential oil in there. And then you get a little bottle, store that in a bottle and rub that, use that. I like to use it, you can use it on chakra points, you can use it on temples, you can use it, on your chest here and then the smell comes up. You can use it anywhere as a massage oil. When you get a bit more into it, each oils does have a different blending factor. So some are stronger and some are less strong, and kind of takes a while to learn all that. But yeah, those are some of the ways you can use it. Oh, and in the bath, of course, for a relaxing bath. Yeah, another way.
It's absolutely nice.
Okay.
And you know what? When you make eucalyptus, it took me right back to when I was a little girl, and we would get the resin off the trees and eat it.
Oh, lovely!
Such lovely memories that came up for me just during this show.
Good.
So if people want to get hold of you and learn more, or have some healing from you, or use any of your other skills, there's your website name. It's naturetherapist.co.uk with a hyphen in the middle. And I should mention this show is being recorded and it will be available on YouTube afterwards, and also on Amy's website, which is on the screen now. You can also contact Amy on her email address, which I will leave up there for a few seconds, amynaturetherapist@gmail.com. This has been really, really interesting, Amy. Thank you very much. I've learned such a lot, and I've got a list here of fragrances that I would like to explore, oils that I would like to explore after the show.
Great. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I've enjoyed it, meeting you.
Next week, we're going to have another fascinating show. There's just so many things that you can bring together in a way that might not make sense for people like me who don't know that much. But again, it's going to be part of the bigger puzzle. The title for next week's show is Iridology and Digestion, How Your Eyes Teach You Healthy Eating. Now, iridology is a study of the eyes, and bring that together with indigestion. That's going to be really, really interesting. My guest on the show will be Chrissy Gray, and it's another one that I'm really looking forward to. So I'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.